Is this giving Are You Happy to Be in Paris? Or is it giving this thing from Bug's Life? Not sure. That looks a little better. I don't know. Never claimed to be a professional. As the title suggests, I just turned 30. Well, this year. And I'm not good at anything. So, strong start, I know. But this is something that I've thought about for a while. This has been an idea rolling around in my brain. And recently I saw Maddie Dragsback. I'll put a screenshot here. And her video about aversion to cringe, and that really struck a chord with me. Jump scare. Ooh. I feel like I just need editing me here. I just needed to step in and clarify what I mean by I'm not good at anything. I have qualities about me that are good, and I've been able to survive and work and, do all those things. So clearly I'm like good at things, but I mean in the sense of I am a chronic dabbler of things, very interested in this one thing and then, this other thing, and I haven't been able to I can't say that there's a skill that I've fully mastered or something that I feel confident in. If someone were to ask me, oh, what are your hobbies and, what do you do in your spare time? I've never been able to whip out like, oh, I play guitar. So I just wanted to explain what I mean by that. Anything involving something in the creative world, even though I've always been interested and have participated in it, I have never felt confident in my skill set around that. So just explaining. Okay, bye-bye. I think just the whole discussion of cringe that she was talking about in her video, it just made me think about my own intrusive thoughts of this won't amount to anything, why even bother? And that bothers me, and not embracing that urge that I have to put things like that out there, and just hopefully this resonating with other people. It just makes me want to take action, and frankly that feels better than just sitting here and doing nothing, because I've been in a state of wanting to get back into making videos. This is just something that I've been wanting to talk about because it's just something that I've felt for most of my life, and I think turning 30 is such a milestone, and I've been talking about how much I want to feel different and how much I want to be able to say that I've evolved or tried new things. And basically that video jump started me thinking about this and writing some things out. So if I'm looking away, that's because I'm just referring to some things that I wanted to talk about. What led me here? What led me to this bleak conclusion? So growing up, I always gravitated towards all things art. My mom used to work in one of the bigger museums in LA. She was at the ticket counter. That was enough to afford her an apartment with 2 bedrooms and a great kitchen, which is crazy to think about. Anyway, I was a toddler that everyone knew that would walk around past closing time in the museum looking at all the artwork, and especially the Egyptian exhibit. I feel like everyone had an Egypt phase, or what, I don't know. I feel like that's like a milestone in a kid's life, is to be obsessed with Egypt and mummies and things. So I was one of those. I would, walk around and look at the art and absorb it as best a toddler brain can absorb fine art. But even in school, I wanted to join all the art classes. I did theater. I did musical theater in high school. This is me doing cell block tango for our talent show in high school. I look like Liza Minnelli, which is really fun, but who let us wear fishnets in front of everyone? I'm not sure, but I think we look great. I was just always gravitated towards that area of expression. So even from a young age, I just knew that there was this like deep-rooted imposter syndrome. I'm not as good as this person. Other people are just more naturally gifted than me. Um, why am I so interested and so intrigued by all of this creative work that I'm not even good at? I just wish that that would go away and I would be able to be interested in something that would benefit me more in the long run. I mean, not that the creative interests don't benefit you. It's just coming from a family that had limited resources growing up. I wasn't able to just say, hey mom, I want to take this dance class. I love like an art tutor or things like that, take additional classes. It just wasn't in the cards. It wasn't possible. So, and that's so many people's stories. It's so many people just did not grow up with money, and I was definitely one of those people that watched my family struggle and had to make sacrifices, and that was fine. But it did not allow me to grow in that creative arena that I was always so interested in. And yeah, so I would pick up hobbies and just give them up because of multiple factors, but the main things were I just didn't feel good enough, and I was like, this is just a waste of time and money on my parents' side, so I just need to give up because I'm not going to end up doing anything with it anyway. So yeah, I think without school and having a teacher or someone holding me accountable to keep pushing and learning about it, I just wouldn't stick to it. I was told I was lazy. Most people are, who I think I'm pretty sure I have ADHD undiagnosed, but hey, what's new in the world? But I was just told I was lazy and that I needed to push myself to learn it all, and it was just hard for me to stick to a routine if I wasn't in school or taking some sort of class. And all of these critiques only made it worse and made me not want to push myself. So instead, we're taught that we need to earn a paycheck and go to school, have a stable job. So in school, I wanted to focus on that stability because no one else was going to do it for me. I knew I had to come out of school independent. And it's not that my family wouldn't help me if I really, really needed it, but one, I just didn't want to be a burden on them because they were doing their own thing and struggling, and I just didn't want to add to that stress. And I wanted to be able to live my own independent life on my own terms. So I wanted to join all of the fun creative clubs in college, but again, those thoughts would always creep in of there's other people who started earlier than me who are more naturally talented than me, yada yada. I wanted to try something on my own that I was like, you know what, I can be proud of this, and if it has a little impact on my community, then great. So I started a small charity in college, and just designing the logo sparked something in me of like, oh, illustrating is fun and designing is fun and sketching is fun. So that was just another thing that I picked up late in school of things like Adobe Illustrator and doing things like that. But again, life gets in the way every time if you let it, and I would let it. Still do, still guilty of it. But yeah, life got in the way. I needed to get a job and graduate, pay my bills, and I was too tired for anything except needing to work to get my paycheck or binge eating, which I've struggled with for a long time. The panini hit and everyone's motivation was at an all-time low, especially mine. And luckily I had met my partner right before. He was a great distraction from all of the inner turmoil that I had. There was always this battle of my heart and my brain where I finally found somebody and that loves me and I love them and they fulfill so much. However, there's still this big hole in me where I'm just not giving myself the leeway to try new things and be a little more expressive and just have, some hobbies that I don't have to be so critical of myself. I can just let go and, do things with my hands and just creating things just to do it. So after being together for a few years, we moved into our place, and this was, a new start for both of us, a new start for me, my own space for the first time, and I used this as my own canvas. It was a chance for me to just put out what I think is interesting, what I think is fun design, and it was just another way for me to feel accomplished when I would find the right table or the right vintage lamp secondhand, and or when I would finish painting a wall and, it finally turned out the way that I wanted it to. And it was just a fun thing for me to finally use that creativity that I'd been suppressing for so long, in my own space that reflects who I am. I think if you can't reflect who you are in like at least your space and your clothing, then it's like, what do you do? So I took full advantage of our place. But after a year of making this place feel like home, I wanted to try something new. So I started making little videos, short videos on Instagram and YouTube of daily vlogs and DIYs. Finally, I was like, this is all coming together. I have my own place, and, I'm feeling creative again, wanting to express myself through videos and things like that. But in December of 2023, I had my first BPPV attack, which is benign paroxysmal. I forget what the other P stands for, but benign paroxysmal P vertigo. And the main symptom of that is dizziness, really intense dizziness. It was awful. I couldn't stand. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't interact with my partner. I couldn't interact with anybody without feeling just completely off. And it was truly traumatizing. It's something that I've been afraid of for a long time since it ran in my family. So after that, I was diagnosed with something called vestibular migraine. And it ticked a lot of boxes of symptoms that I felt even before I had my attack. So that was kind of reassuring to know that there was something that I could use as a jumping off point to get treated. But it's something that's fairly common, and I think if you have things like light sensitivity, balance issues, some form of vertigo, I think it's good to look into. It's pretty common in women. I think more women get it if I'm not mistaken, but again, I'm not a doctor. On top of, other chronic things that I deal with, like back issues and other chronic illness things that are just so annoying. It felt like there was no hope, and I had to put my focus on my health and just, again, suppress any sort of creativity that I had been trying to grab onto again. And grieving that, my old self was gone. There are things that I, to this day, still feel like I can't do confidently. It's a lot better, but it's a strange feeling when you feel like you're truly limited on what you can do and how you can engage with the world. And just not having that sense of freedom to do certain things. And I'm sure so many people out there understand what I'm saying. But chronic illness warriors, I'm with you. So I completely know how that feels. But through all of this stuff, it's just given me so much to think about, talk about in therapy and with my friends and my partner. So that was a lot. Wow, location change? I'm such a YouTuber. But yeah, so Debbie Downer, that was a lot of back and forth and seemed pretty sad. But what's the good part coming out of all of this? Getting into the steps that I'm taking to try and shift out of this mindset of not being good enough and not wanting to give myself the chance to explore my own creativity and what I'm capable of. And instead of wanting to go back to my old self, what does this new self mean? How can I feel different in my 30s? And that's just, again, something that I've been thinking about, is how I can feel different. Just giving myself the space to tap into my desire of things like this, of wanting to talk about and make a YouTube video of, these feelings that so many of us, I'm sure, go through and feel the same way. Giving myself something to do that isn't another doctor's appointment, because I'm scared of something else with my chronic illness, or, another food binge, or another impulsive spending of buying a course that promises to take away my procrastination and promises to reduce my anxiety about these things. And I know you know what I'm talking about. If you've bought any, I'm right there with you. So, and then just forgetting about those courses or whatever and just wasting money, I can realize that, hey, I may not be good at something right now, but I'm good at trying, giving myself those chances over and over, trying again. And I need to recognize that those attempts matter, those seemingly small steps matter. And also telling you that, because I am sure if this title called out to you, that I'm sure you felt that way too, where it's like, no matter what I do, it's too small and it's not going to matter, but it does. So, into the tangible steps that I'm taking, the first one I would say is dedicating an hour a day to some sort of hobby. And I've been slacking on this, but this is my way of holding myself accountable. Dedicating an hour to something like Adobe Illustrator, getting back into little doodles and drawing things again, and just giving myself again that feeling with my giving something for my hands to do, give myself that little feeling of accomplishment that I created a new design or something like that. So the second step within that was actually putting out one of my designs on Redbubble. And I figured Redbubble would be a nice place to try and see what happens. It has, products, and then it does the shipping and blah, blah, blah. So if that's something that you're interested in with this design, I think is super cute. I don't know. It was something that I made in college and then I just revamped it recently. But if you're interested, I would love it if people had my sticker on your water bottle or your laptop. That would be a dream come true for me. But yeah, that was just part of me giving myself the chance to express myself and try something new. And putting up a little art shop made me feel like, oh, that's something that made me feel accomplished. And if someone liked it, then that's a big bonus. So that's great. But yeah, I'll link it below if you're interested. But outside of that, again, it's making sure that I feel good about my own personal care, my own personal routine. So along with the hobbies and addressing that side of my brain, I also need to address the health side and make sure that I'm continuing eating what I'm supposed to be eating, maintaining my activity levels. I've been doing so much walking. There were days upon days just a few months ago where I would not leave my couch. I would just stay home, or my partner would come home and I would still be in bed. It was just a big part of my life where I was, eating well and losing the weight, but I was lacking on the physical activity that I needed so much. And honestly, doing this 66-day challenge, I forget who the creator was that started it, but and did I stick to the 66 days? No, but I would love to try that again as well. Again, trying is important. So, but that part of the challenge was doing a physical activity for 45 to 60 minutes a day. And that really jump started my walking that I've been sticking to actually. But yeah, the hobby and then the healthy eating and then, adding things like meditation into that has been really helpful, especially with my chronic illness and my migraines. Grounding work is like so necessary. It's something that I just can't slack on. So I just need to be consistent with that. And all of these things overlap. If you neglect your mental and your physical health, it can cost you the things that you love to do the most. And I've had to learn that the hard way. So please take it from me. It's not worth it. If you love doing things like painting or whatever it may be, it's not worth it when your body gives out and then, that way that you would spend your time and feel fulfilled is gone. So take it from me. Those are the steps that I've been taking so far and want to continue to do, and making videos is a part of that. If you want to join the Not Good at Anything club, kidding. Am I? I don't know. But if you feel like you're on a similar path as me, I'd love it if you subscribed and left comments below. Does this make sense to you? Does this resonate with you? Did you just turn 30? Woo! And how does that feel for you? Because to me, it's been a weird whirlwind of emotions, but making something like this feels so much better, to just get these thoughts out there and hopefully create a little village of people who feel safe and seen in what I'm saying. So, but yeah, I appreciate if you've gotten this far. And I hope this played in the background or something while you were cleaning. I've always wanted to be one of those videos. Um, but yeah, thank you so much. And hopefully I'll talk to y'all soon.